Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for July 8th. July 8th is the 189th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 190th in leap years, with 176 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is verklempt. Verklempt is an adjective that means overcome with emotion, choked up. The word verklempt comes to us from Yiddish. Merriam-Webster says first known use of the word verklempt is in 1991, and that's a bit surprising, but maybe that's when it migrated to English from Yiddish. Many of us will have first heard the word verklempt in a Saturday Night Live skit called Coffee Talk, with a character called Linda Richmond, played by Mike Myers. I did find a link to all the episodes, and the Coffee Talk series actually starts out with Mike Myers as a different character, but eventually comes along Linda Richmond, and those are hilarious. Coffee Talk. Verklempt was suggested by one of my viewers, and if you have a word you'd like me to explore in the Word of the Day section, pop it in the comments and we'll take a look at it. And with that, this is the birthday of Italian Baroque painter Artemisia Gentileschi, born July 8, 1593. It's unusual to find a female creative, especially from this time period, but her dad was a painter, and so she had early exposure to making art. As I understand it, her mother died when she was about 12, and she began to show more interest in her father's career path of painting. Her father followed the style of Caravaggio, whose work employs dramatic use of lighting, and, like father, like daughter, Artemisia painted that way too. Her earliest surviving work is a painting called Susanna and the Elders, which was done when she was 17. She was an amazing artist, lived an interesting life. The exact date of her death is unclear, but it was most likely in the mid-1650s, which would have her living into her early 60s. Artemisia Gentileschi. On July 8, 1663, Charles II of England granted John Clark a royal charter to Rhode Island. In those days, a royal charter was pretty important if you wanted to settle an area. Now, we've talked in the last few days, over the last week or so, quite a bit about the Declaration of Independence, the Liberty Bell, and so on. And on July 8, 1776, church bells, possibly including the Liberty Bell, were rung after the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence of the United States. This is the birthday of American chemist and pharmacist John Pemberton, born July 8, 1831. He's the inventor of a temperance drink that he intended to sell as a patent medicine. Initially, he was aiming for a morphine-free alternative painkiller and came up with Coca-Cola. His failing health and looming bankruptcy prompted Mr. Pemberton to sell most of his rights to Coca-Cola shortly before his death in 1888. He was 57 when he passed. This is the birthday of Swiss-American psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, born July 8, 1926. She's best known for her book On Death and Dying, where she explains a concept of the 5 stages of grief, which are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Just insert here that acceptance doesn't mean you have to like a thing. It just means that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. You don't have to like it, endorse it, encourage it, or wish it to be so. That's just the way it is. That's what acceptance means to me. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross lived to the age of 78. On July 8, 1947, reports were broadcast that a UFO had crash-landed in Roswell, New Mexico, in what came to be known as the Roswell incident. Today's song is Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibb, number 1 on July 8, 1978. Shadow Dancing is a disco song that was released in April of 1978, hit number 1 in the Billboard Hot 100 in June of that year, and held the spot for 7 weeks, which is where we find it today, July 8th. Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibb. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that is called No Really. And you can also find me on Rumble and BitChute. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Microphone over there. Hello. Okay. With 202 days remaining to the end of the world. End of the year. Please, not the end of the world. 202 days remaining to the end of the year. Let's read that one again. Yep, it is. That's what it's called. All right. Third time better be a charm. There's no "the" there. One more time. Attracting. Just read the whole thing over. Are you making some sound? Get on out of here. And we're going to edit that out. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty. Back to work. I think we got it this time.